Welcome. I'm your host, Compton J. Let's call this You Left Shit Out, since I missed the earlier episode, by which I likely would have covered this news that I'm going to cover today. Let's go ahead and put all the items up, the scrolling items. Thank you for joining me. I'm I saw the reporting from Status Quo, and I just said I have to get on and talk about this. So we're gonna jump right into it. Forgive me, I just kind of threw on a shirt. It's not my normal attire, but anyway, let's get to right to the story. So there's a Substack, Status Quo Substack article that's out, and Jordan, the person who wrote it, actually covers it. And I want to, hang on one second here. I'm going to bring it up and watch just the first, I think it's 3 or 4 minutes of it. Let me share my screen here. Yeah. But if you're here, you saw the title. It's Nick Brana's under investigation for sexual harassment. So let's go ahead. Hang on a second here. It's taking a little bit to update here. Okay. I think I got it. I think I got it now. All right. So let's share the screen and now let's get into the story. To me, I mean, it's pretty shocking to me. The news of the investigation that's going on, some of the news of what's happened during the investigation also. Um, it's shocking to me. So, but I'm going to fast forward through a lot of this or in the beginning here and just get right to where we're talking about the allegation. Let's go ahead and listen into the first few minutes here.
Give anyone being accused all the time in the world to respond. But I also meticulously went through this, and the facts speak for themselves. So let's get into those facts. Tina, if you'll just stick around for a couple minutes as I read this. So, exclusive. Movement for a People's Party National Chair Nick Brana was under investigation for alleged sexual harassment. I should say also, Tina, that this story is a little bit more than just the accusations against him. There seems to be a clear thing here that board members were removed who were
silenced the dissent, so to speak.
Yes, that board members who were calling for certain punishment of Nick Brana were removed. So this is beyond just the accusation against him. There were board members abruptly removed over the weekend on Sunday and Monday, and several of those board members were calling for aggressive penalty, including him being removed as national chair and a board member. So this is sexual harassment accusations, but also a purging seemingly linked to this investigation. Again, I reached out to him. He didn't respond. You know, I'd be happy for him to respond and deny or correct anything. So let's get into this. Multiple sources familiar with Movement for a People's Party, MPP, and by the way, this is on Status Quo's Substack. The link is in the description, so you can read along if you want. Please subscribe to our Substack too. You can become a Substack member for $5 a month. Multiple sources familiar with Movement for a People's Party, which over the years has attempted to build a third party that could run local and federal candidates, told Status Quo that Nick Brana, MPP's national chair, has been under internal investigation since December 2021 after a female subordinate that Brana had at one point had a romantic relationship with made accusations of sexual harassment against him. Just to be clear, it is my understanding, based on sources, that this female who worked under Nick Brana plans on coming forward herself. So I can't confirm that, but I was told this by multiple sources, that this alleged subordinate who made the accusation plans on coming forward against Nick Brana. I don't know when, but that's what I was told. And again, at one point, they had a romantic relationship while Nick was her boss. Status Quo has reviewed documents that confirm the investigation was launched in the middle of December 2021. A special investigation committee, because I use that term a lot, SIC, Special
Investigation Committee, SIC,
Investigation Committee, consisting of 3 MPP board members, was formed in December to investigate and conduct interviews with Brana, the accuser, and anyone else relevant to the investigation. On December 13th, 2021, the 3 board members who were appointed to serve on the SIC reached out to Brana, informing him of the allegations and trying to set up a time to conduct an interview with him. Quote, I can confirm that I was one of 4 MPP board members serving on a special investigative committee investigating accusations of sexual harassment against MPP chair Nick Brana. Regina Clark, one of 5 MPP board members who were abruptly removed from the board on Sunday, February 20th, so 2 days ago, and Monday, February 21st, told Status Quo. So let me be clear, Tina.
Yeah.
There's 10 board members total. Nick Brana is one of them, and his father, Rodrigo Brana. So there's 10 board members. Nick and his father are 2 of the 10. On Sunday and Monday, half the board was removed.
Wow.
Half the board was removed. I'm going to go further in.
Half the board of anything is not removed, for any sort of small thing. So at this point, these are allegations, and but I mean that doesn't spell well for Nick Brana or MPP. So let's listen a little more for a couple of more tidbits here.
To the story explaining this, but again, half the board was removed, and at least 2 of those at least 2 of those board members were recommending, after an investigation, that he be removed as national chair and be removed from the board.
So 2 of the people that were removed were recommending that that Nick Brana be removed from the board and removed from his position. 2 of the 3 is what he said.
So that doesn't look good. I'll say that. Okay. Quote, we were removed from the board because we were concerned about Nick remaining in his position, Clark said. This is Regina Clark, one of the people who were removed. As the investigation went on, it was clear there was sexual harassment going on. For other alleged acts, there was a debate on whether it was harassment or extended further. So why that's important is Regina was one of...
Okay, let me translate that. Whether harassment or extended further. So possible RAPE. I'm not going to say the word because sometimes YouTube trips, believe it or not, just saying the word.
4 board members who were put on this special committee to investigate. So Regina, she is one that is saying, based on the investigation, there was evidence that, or at least they found the accusations of sexual harassment credible. So that's coming from Regina Clark, who was a board member. She was removed over the weekend along with 4 others, and she was one of the 4 investigating.
Let me address one.
Nick Brana did not respond to Status Quo's request for comment.
I thought I hit pause, but I did not. But let me... This one here. I have issues with Jordan. Facts are facts. I've had issues with Jordan myself openly on Twitter about the whole Jen Perlman thing. That doesn't take away from facts. It doesn't.
Number of questions about the allegations against him. Clark told Status Quo that the Special Investigative Committee originally consisted of 3 MPP board members, but weeks later, concerns mounted that one of the SIC's members was leaking information to Brana. As a result, a 4th member was added to the SIC.
So 3 members of the SIC. One is believed to be leaking information from the investigation to Nick Brana. So they had a fourth person. Why didn't they remove that person who they had that belief for? Very weird what's going on over here.
Clark detailed a stark evolution of findings and recommendations by the SIC after the group found the accuser's accusations against Brana credible. Originally, Clark said the Special Investigation Committee members planned on making several recommendations, a 6-month probationary period.
So the investigation was complete, and they found the allegations credible. And then these are the recommendations that this committee gives.
Where Brana would have to be free of any type of sexual harassment accusations, take training classes for sexual harassment.
Let me start over a few seconds because you missed the first part of that sentence.
On Sunday and Monday, half the board was removed.
That was too much.
Wow.
Hang on a second here. Right.
Went on. It was clear there was sexual harassment going on. For other alleged acts, there was a debate on whether it was harassment or extended further. So why that's important is Regina was one of 4 board members who were put on this special committee to investigate. So Regina, she is one that is saying, based on the investigation, there was evidence that, or at least they found the accusations of sexual harassment credible. So that's coming from Regina Clark, who was a board member. She was removed over the weekend along with 4 others, and she was one of the 4 investigating. Nick Brana did not respond to Status Quo's request for comment or a number of questions about the allegations against him. Clark told Status Quo that the Special Investigative Committee originally consisted of 3 MPP board members, but weeks later, concerns mounted that one of the SIC's members was leaking information to Brana. As a result, a 4th member was added to the SIC. Clark detailed a stark evolution of findings and recommendations by the SIC after the group found the accuser's accusations against Brana credible. Originally, Clark said the Special Investigation Committee members planned on making several recommendations, a 6-month probationary period where Brana would have to be free of any type of sexual harassment accusations, take training classes for sexual harassment, participate in workplace supervisory training, and also that he not serve as a one-on-one supervisor to the accuser or anyone else during that 6-month probation period. But as the investigation continued and Brana allegedly retaliated against other MPP staffers, again, allegedly, I've reached out to Nick. He did not respond to questions. As Brana allegedly retaliated against other MPP staffers, 2 out of the 4 members of the SIC escalated their recommendations to calling for Brana to be removed as MPP national chair and board member.
So, just to be clear, initially the recommendation was 6 months, where he is not accused of any other sexual harassment in 6 months, and some other items as punishment. Once that recommendation was known, they felt like he retaliated. So 2 of the people who recommended all of those items, or those conditions, escalated their recommendation from just the 6-month probation and all the others. They escalated that to he must be removed from his position.
Board member. So that's kind of important, Tina, because it's kind of like the cover up worse than the crime. Like,
It can.
I'll pause it here. We got the bulk and the gist of most of the information. There is some other tidbits that I am going to go back to, but let's delve into this first part, or the first part of this reporting, which is, let me say this first before we delve into that. At this point, regardless if any accusation is correct or true, I said this yesterday before I knew about this sexual harassment allegation. At this point, things have gotten so toxic over there under his leadership, he has to go regardless. So let's say, everybody who was accused him of just wrongdoing, from racism, all of that stuff, let's say all of them are wrong, liars. Let's say that. all of the things that has happened has still put him in a position where he's not going to be able to govern effectively over this organization. Um, so if he's truly about what the party should be doing and the health of the party, he should resign, regardless of whatever happens, or regardless of whether or not any of these accusations are true. It is just, I mean, it's just completely toxic over there right now. Like, I don't hear anything but bad items from what's going on over there. And also, I did a search in trying to, because I was going to do a different story, a different angle before I heard about this. So I search, and I can't find interviews that he's done on any lefty media in the last several months. Um, I go on their YouTube page, and there's not a lot of content. It's just certainly not a lot of current content. So just wondering what's going on there. And is MPP done without Brana? Is there an MPP organization worth salvaging? Well, I don't know if I would phrase that question. I would say, if Brana stays, is there an MPP organization worth salvaging? That's how I would phrase it. Yeah. Let's delve into some more comments. Let's see here. If Brana resigns and there is a fair election to replace him, that would be interesting. Yeah. Of course he would have to resign. There would have to be other things to happen, like anybody part of his entourage that has been helping him to do this. Maybe, they would have to not, step down from leadership, maybe still be the part of the party, but absolutely, very interesting. I agree. The New Jersey People's Party mentioned there is some toxicity going on. I was heartbroken to hear. Yeah, it's too bad, because a lot of people had hope for this idea to take off. Even if Brana is innocent, the handling by the top brass looks crazy, suspect. Absolutely, a coincidence only goes so far. Exactly. I haven't heard any kerfuffle over mandates apart from the. I'm not sure of that last part. Maybe Nick is a creep, but chapters of MPP absolutely quit over mandates or abs, and they were smearing anyone supporting truckers as white supremacists. Again, I don't. Let's get to, here we go. Not suspect because Nick is not trustworthy. Yeah. Is there anyone who has any good comments about Nick Brana? Any good comments? Please put them in so we can put them up and we can discuss. Done anybody agree with this suspect? Does anybody agree with this suspect? Yeah. Oh, I already put that one up. He should resign. Right. You know what? I almost entitled this Nick Brana is the new Andrew Cuomo. That's almost was the title of this the stream. Cuomo will hire Nick Brana. Not trustworthy or transparent. That's kind of the thing. And I notice a lot of what they do, what I've heard from this organization, whether in statements or people, they'll put out, for example, oh, this person's gone. Then it'll be, we'll send the information later. Why? Like, the details are always said, oh, we'll give you that later. And when we go back to this video, there's a person who was recently removed, like yesterday or something. And she says the same thing, where there's a lot of that saying where we'll get back to you, and they never do. Again, so let me take the opportunity to address something here. What I don't understand the relevance of this. I don't. For example, Ryan Grimm. Don't like the guy, but do I distrust his reporting on Tara Reid? No. Do I distrust his reporting on Blasey Ford? Yeah, Blasey Ford. I forget her first name. No. So just to bring up, oh, I hate the guy. What does that do? Like, what's the relevance here? Racism, yes. There've been black people. I think Renee. Yeah, there's been black people who have accused the organization him of racism. Yes, white people can be racist. Using the word loosely. Black people can be racist or bigoted. Latin people, any person can be a bigot, and you can be a bigot of your own race. Ever heard of Larry Elder? So, what's the yeah? Prior to this, what was MPP doing anyway? That's a good question. Like I said, when you go on their YouTube, you don't see much. What's going on? That is a very good question. So let's go. Yeah, I've heard that too, and I think that's why he started. I think the video I did yesterday, I had played a little bit of his video yesterday, where he says that, and I pointed out how I thought that was weird, in that somebody must have accused him or something else that must have happened for him. Now, is it possible that Jordan is happy that this news is coming out, so he's giddy about reporting it? Yeah. Does it mean he's lying? No. Again, so not liking him, that didn't make anybody make any sexual assault or sexual harassment allegations. Like, it literally has no relevance. So what I'm saying is, if we're discussing a topic, what is the point in you telling or making it known that you don't like the person? What is that point? Unless you're trying to challenge what the person is saying. So if you're trying to challenge the evidence or the investigation, then say that. But let's not just kind of throw out like useless, sentences. What does that do? I'm simply here. I'm using this opportunity here to point out traits that is still in leftist discord that comes from liberal discord, and this is one of them. It's you're critiquing, somebody critiques Kamala Harris, and what does K-Hive do? They don't acknowledge the critique or say it's wrong or bad. Or I don't like the person who said it, I'm gonna attack the person who, like, what does that do? That doesn't change the information. So I see that as I see this as akin to that. Just putting that out there. So let's get back to the video here and see what other information is dropped or new information is dropped here.
Can be.
Yeah. So originally,
appears.
this committee was calling for 6-month probation, that he'd take training classes, sexual harassment, workplace training, that the nature of the management, that he can't one-on-one supervise change. But not just Regina, who was on the record, but I spoke with other sources who did share that there was concerned that Brana was doing things to retaliate
Mhm.
after the investigation was launched. Based on that, they at least I know 2 of the special investigation committee members, they went from, all right, give him a probation and training to he needs to be removed. So, that's significant.
That is, yeah.
Through multiple sources, including Clark, Status Quo learned of an abrupt 2 to 3 day period between Saturday, February 19th and Monday, February 21st. So we're talking like 3 days ago,
Mhm.
where 5 board members were abruptly removed from MPP's board after they had called for an emergency meeting to go over the findings of the investigation into Brana. Again, that investigation started in December, so it's been going on for about 2 months.
For a while, yeah.
Before the 5 board members' removal, MPP's board had consisted of 10 people, including Nick Brana and his father, Rodrigo Brana, who is co-coordinator of MPP's finance committee.
Like his father being a part of the board it sounds so much like Donald Trump appointing Jared Kushner. It's so akin to that.
I found out later, I'll update the story, that he is listed as MPP's treasurer too.
This
So he's
this
not
is
only
this was some new information. So let me wind that back
10
about.
people, including Nick Brana and his father, Rodrigo Brana, who is co-coordinator of MPP's finance committee. And I found out later, I'll update the story, that he is listed as MPP's treasurer too. So he's not only co-coordinator of their finance committee, he's listed in legal filings as their treasurer. Multiple sources told Status Quo
That is terrible.
that on Saturday, February 19th, Clark and 4 other board members, Thomas Royko, Todd Jellin, David Fischel, and David Schmelzer, sent a petition to other board members of the partial MPP board. The partial board consisted of 8 out of the 10 board members, minus Nick Brana and Rodrigo Brana.
Mhm.
So I was told, essentially, the full board is 10, but anything about this investigation, they were meeting with 8. Obviously, you wouldn't have Nick and his father in
Mhm.
meetings pertaining to an investigation into Nick. So Saturday, 5 of the board members reach out to the other 3 board members, including the MPP's general counsel, asking for an emergency meeting the next day to discuss the findings of the investigation into Brana and to make recommendations. The petition sent to the rest of the partial board requested an emergency meeting of the partial board to take place the next day on Sunday, February 20th. So now this is 2 days ago, to discuss the findings of a 2-month investigation into accusations of alleged sexual harassment by Brana against the female subordinate who at one point he was romantically involved with. So I want to be clear, at one point they were romantically involved, no
That
longer.
doesn't mean he can't be guilty of sexual harassment. Let's be clear, though.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not I'm not saying anything.
No, you're not. I'm saying that
Yeah,
because there are people in the chat bringing that up as if it's some sort of
Yeah.
to deflect from that. But there are situations in which you can be involved with somebody, break up, and rape can occur, sexual harassment can occur, all kinds of things can occur. So
Mhm.
it
Right.
doesn't necessarily create an environment where that's not going to happen.
Right. And by the way, I am not going into detail again about the specific allegations because I was told by multiple sources that the woman, I don't know when, plans on going forward, and I felt I don't want to, I guess, leapfrog the woman.
Let her tell her story. Yeah.
Right. So I can confirm that he was being investigated because I have the documents. I have documents that show he was being investigated for this. I have documents that show specific board members reached out to him, informing him of the allegations, and trying to set up a meeting with him on this. I also have spoken with multiple sources, so I know for a fact he was under investigation for sexual harassment. But I am not going into details of the allegations because I don't think I should leapfrog a woman if a woman plans on publicly going forward. All right. I'm going to try to speed read because we have a really important guest coming on, which is going to show a trend. It's going to show a bit of a trend at MPP. And by the way, smash the like button.
So just to kind of bring the story up to speed, the investigation either begins or it's confirmed that it's happening in December. A few months later in February, they said, hey, we got the findings and recommendations, right? Let's have an emergency meeting. The emergency meeting is supposed to be the 20th, and that's the day that people begin to be purged from the board. And in the video, he does go into some of the reasons these people were purged. I think one of the reasons was the person missed too many meetings. Yeah. Like, it's kind of suspicious that you're purged for missing too many meetings right after an emergency meeting is called about the investigation into Nick Brana. That just looks suspicious. That's what I'm saying. Yes, the purge. Yes, nepotism. Yes, I'm fine with that name. Status poo. I'm fine with that too. uh yeah, so wow. This, I mean, like I said, let's say all of this is not true. Nick Brana should still resign, because how can he govern effectively? When I say govern, how can he be the leader, not govern? He's not governing. How can he be the leader of this, the director of this organization effectively? You know how many people will kind of just shy away from joining the MPP, participating, because he would be at the head, even if everything came out to be false, which I don't think it's going to come out. Just my personal opinion. And it's okay for you to have a personal opinion. This is not a court of law. You can have an opinion about this. Now, I also think it's quite suspicious that he's not coming out. Not just about this. Like I said, I tried to search Nick Brana, YouTube, and like, it's very hard to find stuff less than like 5 months old, 6 months old. And the further you go back, then you start to see there's multiple appearances, always on. About 7, 8 months ago is a lot of the content is more consistent. It's a lot more. So, not sure what exactly is going on. No evidence yet provided. Alleged victim and alleged perpetrators let down badly. Sheridan hasn't got a clue. So this is, you clearly have a bias towards him. So this is your take. Like, I wish yeah. So I'll leave it there. That just sounds shady, to jump of this and not let the victim speak for themselves when they're ready. That sounds shady, to jump of this. All right, let's get back to the video here, and we're gonna end when they bring on this guest, but there is another instance, another thing that happens, and that's the reason why I'm coming back to this, because I want you to hear the other item that is dropped in this first part of this video.
Smash that like button, share this live stream. Let's get this out to more people. And this is about more than just Nick Brana, by the way. We're going to get to that later. All right. Quote, for at least 1 week leading up to our removal, speaking, this is a board member talking about the 5 board members who were removed,
Right.
for at least 1 week leading up to our removal, we've been trying to meet with other board members to settle the findings of this investigation. But those board members either didn't confirm that they couldn't make proposed meeting times or didn't propose alternative times. Clark told Status Quo. Another MPP source confirmed this. There, quote, there was a stalling going on by pro-Brana board members. We kept reaching out to meet since the Super Bowl on February 13th. So I was told this, not just about a week-long delay or stalling to have a meeting to discuss the investigation's findings. I was also told that Brana was delaying for a few days to even have an interview with the investigation, with the members of the investigations committee. To be fair, he hasn't gotten back to me, so I would love to hear back from him, and he could deny or confirm anything. I reached out to him early this morning. I reached out to him. So on Sunday, February 20th, the 5 board members who had called for the emergency meeting the day before showed up to the Zoom meeting. But the 3 other members of the partial board, as well as MPP's general counsel, did not join the meeting. Quote, "We contacted the lawyer, but he didn't provide a firm answer," Clark said. Within an hour, we received an email from the general counsel informing 4 of us that we were no longer board members after the rest of the board voted to remove us. The reason provided for 3 of us being removed was missing more than 4 board meetings in 12 months. The 4th, David Schmelzer, was listed as having resigned himself. A day later, on Monday, February 21st, so yesterday, David Fischel, who was part of the 5 board members who called for the emergency Sunday meeting, was removed from the board. So that's kind of interesting timing that you just suddenly go through your attendance records and, oh, you guys have missed more than 4 meetings, so we're just going to remove.
That's very funny, but that's what YouTube does. When they locate a channel they want to get rid of, they go back and find videos months ago. I think Franco told me that happened to him. I think Friarella told me that happened to her, where they go back literally 6-7 months ago and watch videos and give you a strike based on that. But let me say this about this whole situation. I'm really just commenting on this because this is a third party. That's it. And there's people who are in my community who are interested in seeing third parties move forward. If this was the Democratic Party, it would not be delving into this like this. So I'm not necessarily a supporter of the MPP. I'm a Green Party voter. I voted Green the last election, and it looks like I'm going to vote Green this next election. So, I would like for the MPP to do well, and so that people can have another option outside of the duopoly. But if it doesn't, there's no skin off my back. Like there isn't, because I think we should be doing a revolution. I think we should be doing direct action. I think we should be doing mutual aid and building a community. That's the number one strategy I want to do. So, and then the other thing is, I don't have any particular dislike for Nick Brana. I don't know him that well. He reached out to me to do an interview with the People's Party. When was that? Back when the thing happened with Jen Perlman, where she dropped Afeni and I from her stream midstream. He reached out at that time asking, him, and I forget who else is in the DM with that. It was him and another person. And this is right around, if you remember, the time that Jackson Hinkle got arrested in DC. Who else was with them? Jackson Hinkle and somebody else. I think it was Frank. Was it Franco? Anyway, it was somebody. Maybe it was Nico House. That got and it was Nick Brana, who got arrested also. But that was he reached out to Afeni and I, or he reached out to me, and I added Afeni, I think. But in that DM is how he got in contact with Afeni to even come out to that protest march. So, and the interview about Jen Perlman never happened. At the time, I said, I thought that I felt like he wasn't really interested in interviewing or having some sort of interview. I felt like he was just reaching out as a what's the right word? Getting good with the situation. That's what I felt the whole thing was about. Because I had to keep reaching out. I was like, hey, when do you want to schedule this? Oh, we'll let you know, like that kind of thing. And nothing ever materialized. So again, I don't have any particular disdain or dislike for him. I was going to do this interview for him. We follow each other. But for the health of this party or this potential party, and for those that are still involved, we got to remember there's still thousands of people who believe in this. So it's not just Nick Brana. So if this whole thing goes apart, this is literally thousands of people who have put in their blood, sweat, and tears for several years into building this movement. Um, so yeah, just speaking, I feel like I'm speaking on behalf of those people. So yeah, let's listen in a little more. I want to get to the part. Hang on here. Where he brings on somebody else here. Let's see here. Okay. I think this is it here. Let's see.
Happen here. And again, as far as the allegations, I will say, I cannot. I would like to hear from Nick Brana. He has absolutely every right to deny or apologize for something. But I will say the special committee the investigation committee did find the accusations credible. That I could tell you. So moving the plot along, and we'll get back to, more of this later, but moving the plot along, I'm a journalist. I got sources. So a couple people have been sending me, messages from MPP's internal Slack. Bernie's campaign had a Slack channel. MPP has a Slack channel. Okay. So it was described to me that they routinely just remove people who get a little too critical, right?
Mhm.
So, Colin, if we could show this, I'm talking like maybe a few minutes after my story post on Substack this morning, there was a post from Kate I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. Manaccio. She was the New Jersey state coordinator. So not like the janitor, New Jersey state coordinator for MPP. She posts the story from Status Coup. Under it, you see @channel. You all need to read that. Okay. Then she does a follow-up. WTF already? All you people who think Nick is a god really need to get your heads out of your asses. Very soon after that, look who's deactivated.
She is.
She's deactivated from the Slack. And soon after that, there's a message from somebody else. Matt, was Kate removed for raising an inconvenient truth? So I don't say this I'm not trying to have fun here, but this kind of confirms a pattern here, because Nick has always said, oh no, the dissenters are infiltrators, or like Democratic Party infiltrators, or whatever, just bad faith actors.
Right.
But right here, you have a credible news report. It's posted in the Slack, and all of a sudden, this person who posted it is removed. Well, look who we have here. Kate.
Everybody.
Hi, Kate.
I'm
Kate.
kind of proud of that deactivated profile thing. I just want to say I'm kind of proud of that.
So, Kate, thank you for joining me. I'm glad I can get in touch with you. To be clear, I'm not trying to pile on here, but I think the fact that you had posted, I don't know, just a critical comment, like, is this a dictatorship or a democracy here? And were deactivated soon after. Does that surprise you?
No, I actually shared with my friends that I was about to post that, and I said, who wants to take bets on how soon I'm removed? Because I knew it was going to happen. So I've walked the line for months of pointing out things, but not being too aggressive so that I wouldn't get booted, but I knew it would happen today. And so when I posted that in the main channel, but then I also...
People are holding back their critique because they feel they're going to get booted. That seems weird. That seems not to be good for a party who claims that everybody has a voice. That's not good.
also posted it in 5 others because I knew I was leaving and I wanted as many people to see it as possible. And also, there's also a state Slack for MPP for the states to work in. I posted it in there too, and
Now, I think it's important because putting aside the accusations for a second, because you don't have any information on that, and I'm not asking you about that. But if a third party or any new political organization is going to work, you can't have this top-down structure that essentially is coming from one person and whomever his allies are to basically purge dissent. He chose not to respond to me. That's his right if he doesn't want to respond and answer my questions. But I would assume if he's the national chair of MPP, that other people inside MPP might have some questions about this. So the fact that you were just deactivated, I don't know if he did or others did. Is that something that happens a lot in terms of removing people from their channels if they get a little too critical?
Absolutely, all the time. And that's why I knew that I would be deactivated. And over this weekend, it wasn't just the board members that were moved. There were other people who were who were from like Washington State. They removed so many outspoken people from Washington State over the summer, and there were a few left who never post or anything, and they were removed this weekend. They hadn't even posted anything in weeks, possibly months. There were some Florida people who were left over. That's another state that had huge problems with MPP. They weren't saying anything particular this weekend. They were also removed along with that's what they do. Nick never asks for a meeting. Let's bring everybody together. Let's try and talk. It's just, boom, you're gone. And you get a,
I'll leave it there. I think that's enough from the video. But that was the part that I wanted to make sure everybody heard, is that it's sort of a known thing. You'll get removed for dissent. Now, nobody knows if this is true at this point. This is allegations right now. But how does he come back from this is the point that I'm making. Let's say everybody who have made these allegations, everybody who have said he's done something wrong to them, let's say all of them are wrong or lying. Still, it is so toxic over there. You got people afraid to speak because they know they're going to get kicked out if they don't say the right things. Like, what is happening over there at the People's Party? I thought it was funny that they didn't have any, for example, like, how do you not, you're trying to form a party. How are you not having like streams on your YouTube or somewhere, wherever you would stream? Like, how are you having streams to talk to? Like, this is a developing party, so it's not the same thing like a regular party, whereas a Democratic party, just, hey, let's have a meeting and talk about these policies. Like, you're developing a party, so shouldn't you have like, public streams, since we're in a pandemic and everybody's in a, just like you have public hearings, you have public streams where you're on stream, and the things that you can talk about in public, because there are some private things as an organization you would talk about, but things you can decide and discuss in public, you want people who are a part of the organization to be able to hear, and you want people who may want to be a part of the organization to see, oh, they did this is how they're putting it together. I would think that's something you would want to do. It was a complaint that this station had when it was known as FHL about when I was removed. Hey, we need to see some transparency, so we did a stream where we talked about all this stuff and what we said. Like, we did a stream, I remember. So, like, that's important for people to see, and it just seems that there's a lot of secretive mysteriousness going on with this party. And I just I just don't want it to die. So, like I said before, I think that Nick Brana, I think it's time for him to step down for the health and the betterment, the future of MPP. But this could be the last days of MPP. Hopefully, they don't implode, but this could be it. This could be we could be at that moment where that's going to happen. So. Man, just unfortunate. Now I've come up to my hour. I believe there's going to be another stream. Let me make sure before I do. I was trying to get on and off here before 7 or 6 my time, 9 your time. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get off because Nick was going to stream, or Nick Cruz, the Nick part of our network, not the other Nick, not Nick Brana. He was going to stream tonight. I thought he was going to stream, but I thought he was going to stream at 6, but it might start in a little bit. So I'm going to be taking off now. I just wanted to jump on, give my thoughts on that. I thought that, I don't know, when I saw the stream on Status Quo, I just thought that I had to speak on this, especially just some of the details of the story. You can read that on his Slack. Please go over and watch the whole interview on Status Quo. Thanks for allowing me to use the content. I'm just thanking him in advance just in case. All right. So thank you for everybody watching on Rockfin. Thank you for everybody watching on Twitter. I just wanted to hop on. I'll be back on at my regular time for You Left Shit Out tomorrow at what is it, 3 p.m. I was trying to think of the time for East Coast. So I'll be back tomorrow 3 p.m. Eastern with You Left Shit Out. Until then, I'm your host, Compton J.
That Molotov cocktails and rifles would not solve their problems. I have tried to offer them my deepest compassion while maintaining my conviction that social change comes most meaningfully through nonviolent action. But they ask, and rightly so, what about Vietnam? They ask if our own nation wasn't using massive doses of violence to solve its problems, to bring about the changes it wanted. Their questions hit home, and I knew that I could never again raise my voice against the violence of the oppressed in the ghettos without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government. For the sake of those boys, for the sake of this government, for the sake of the hundreds of thousands trembling under our violence, I cannot be silent.